Good morning, everybody. My name is Dylan Sandals, and I'm here with,
Israel Nunez.
and our section number is 05. And today I'm going to be interviewing Israel on at least 5 questions over the great debate pertaining to Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. So our first question, Israel says, how did Booker T. Washington emphasis on vocational training and economic self-reliance compare with W.E.B. Du Bois' advocacy for higher education and the talented 10th?
So W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington had two kind of different standpoints on things, and so Booker T. Washington preferred the economic self-reliance with honing in your skills on their craft, since slavery had just ended, and he was just like, continue doing that and make money from it. Meanwhile, Du Bois was preferred education and self-empowerment through literacy and leadership, which is referencing the talented 10th. So saying 1 in every 10 black men have the capability to lead through gaining education and stuff like that.
Do you think you can still live in that time? Just a side question. Do you think you can live back in that time where it was hard, like putting yourself in the African American standpoint, where it was hard to really do anything in that time, whether that be, just even walk out on the street? Do you think you can live in that time?
I think it'd be pretty difficult. Are you saying me as from the perspective of African American male? Yeah, it'd be pretty difficult. I think because the Jim Crow laws and everything that was going on back then, not good.
I'm telling you, man, like, even the stories that I heard from my grandpa, and my dad is a little bit older, so he knows a little bit, but just that alone, that time period, especially after slavery, it was probably worse than being in slavery, because that's where the segregation started, which takes us to our next question. In what ways did Washington's approach of promoting accommodation to segregation differ from Du Bois' push for immediate civil rights and opposition to racial discrimination?
So Washington kind of made it a little bit more long-term by trying to bring the two sides of the country together, kind of speaking between the two, being the mediator. And that would have taken a much longer time than what Du Bois was proposing. He was just like, put yourself in the government in all these positions of power and do this and this, and then we're gonna start having us come this way. And that push kind of, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if this is 100% correct, but that is the time, like the only time in U.S. history where like the Senate and a lot of the government was filled with like a lot of black people, like a lot of black people. And there hasn't been as many since then.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, some of these guys now, like, the only black person I know that was some type of power was Royce West, and then obviously Barack Obama.
Yeah.
But like, it's not a lot of us in the government, really. And our third question asks, how did Washington's model of industrial education at institutions like the Tuskegee Institute influence educational opportunities for African Americans compared to Du Bois' support for liberal arts education?
So kind of like I said a little bit earlier, where he focused on the vocational training and training of things that require your hands to do. So stuff like farming, agriculture, just skills in general. And Du Bois wanted liberal arts education, which is more, what can I say, like studies.
Yeah.
So like African American studies, gender studies, women's studies, or just looking at history. Knowing your history, knowing everything around you and kind of their meaning. So that's what Du Bois was proposing. And
pertaining to Washington.
Yeah.
And our fourth question asks, how did Washington's focus on practical skills and economic empowerment as a strategy for advancement conflict with Du Bois' call for intellectual growth and leadership develop within the African American community?
So since they had two different kind of viewpoints, it was kind of crucial, because however the white man saw the black person, that's how they would see them. So kind of representing them in a proper light was a pretty important task, because if you did it wrong, you kind of doom everybody for the next few generations. So you kind of had to step carefully, and that's what Du Bois was saying. Even though I don't think they were beefing like in the same time period, Du Bois was kind of calling back to him, but he was criticizing him because Washington wanted to keep the segregation, but have it a little bit more in the favor of black people. So that's how it conflicted. Du Bois didn't like Washington.
Do you think it worked out best the way that it actually went, as far as the regular segregation and how it was hard for us to, you know, even go in and get something to eat?
Yeah, no, I don't know how it could have been any other thing than that, but I don't think it went well. But I can't think of a way where it could have been better.
Yeah, because man, that time period, you know, the Martin Luther King era, Rosa Parks era, that was a monumental time period for us, but it went completely left at some moments. You know, like Selma. Even you know, just normal days, you'll see somebody just get sprayed by a fire truck. You know, those water jets are powerful. So going into our last and final question with Mr. Nunez, what were the philosophical and ideological foundations of Washington and Du Bois' approaches to achieving black excellence, and how did these reflect their personal background and experiences?
So a little bit of a background. Washington was a former slave. Du Bois he wasn't a slave, but he was,
I think he was just captivated.
He was just a guy, and then he experienced racism a little bit later in life. And they can be drawn as being similar to Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., as like Washington would be MLK and Du Bois was Malcolm X, as in kind of the severity and aggression that they had towards, you know, white people. So Washington, he kind of wanted to chill back a little bit, get everyone to be friends, and Du Bois was just like having none of that. He didn't go like start harming people, but he was, you know, assertive. He put himself in places. He made sure that they knew that, you know, we're here and we're fighting for our rights. And I think that let me see, those were their the philosophical and ideological foundations, was the amount of aggression that they had in this movement.
Like I said, I appreciate you guys for watching. Also, thank you to Mr. Nunez for getting us, you know what I'm saying, for getting us right, man. And this concludes our interview on the great debate with Booker T. Washington and W.E. Du Bois. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.